Good morning and welcome to Intel plus Oracle presents JP Morgan co-presents the Economic Times Global Digital Innovation Summit co-powered by Brilio and Connect on an all-new theme of advancing digital innovation in uncertain times. We are truly living in the golden age of digital innovation. Today will be about addressing technology-centric business transformation. The summit is designed to make you and your organizations future-ready and be a step ahead digitally. We will see businesses transition from survival mode to growth mode. And in order to make this move and keep up with the demand, enterprises need to become digitally stronger. We will be focusing on various subjects from AI to machine learning to IoT, data analytics, edge computing, data security. Yesterday, we had some very special tracks on sales and marketing, on human resources, and today we will be welcoming all of you for joining us for our tracks on finance, supply chain management, and our experts will be joining us from across the globe. So it's going to be a great learning experience for us all. But before we begin, let me take a moment and thank our partners for their support in us. I'd like to thank our presenting partner, Intel plus Oracle, our co-presenting partner, JP Morgan. Let me also thank our co-powered by partner, Brilio and Connect, cybersecurity partner, Process IT Global, gold partner, Clear from the makers of Clear Tax, our associate partner, HCL Technologies and Goldstone Technologies. Let me take a moment and thank our startup partners, Credgenics, Verfin Tech, SatSure, Jal Technologies Prakriti, YCLEPT4E Labs, and of course, the summit has been brought to you by ET Edge Unwired. As we look forward to a lot of takeaways today, I'd like to request all of you to please share your thoughts with the world on your social media, and do remember to use our hashtag ETGDI Summit. With a lot to look forward to today, we will be starting with our first speaker shortly on a special address on Bricks to Bytes, reimagining new business models in the transformative age. So stay tuned for that.
Can data inspire us to achieve what once seemed impossible? We believe the potential of a data-driven world is infinite. Oceans of information processed in the blink of an eye. Novel approaches to intractable challenges. Insights that fuel breakthrough innovation. Previously undreamed of results. It's all in the data. The possibilities are endless. Researchers identify cures for cancer. Agrobiologists create smart hives to provide food security for the planet. Aid organizations deliver relief faster. Scientists mitigate climate change, and utilities provide safer, cleaner energy. New business models build entirely new industries. It's in the data. In a cloud-enabled world, machine learning combines with human ingenuity, and the possible becomes achievable. At Oracle, we help people find the value in data so that they can achieve the extraordinary.
Exciting as the day is, we've added some more flavors for you. All attendees stand a chance to win gift vouchers worth 5,000 rupees from ET Edge. All you've got to do is stay tuned through the day, visit our partners in the partner booths, do join us at the experience zone, tweet using us, be an active part of the polls that we'll be having through the day. Send in some exciting questions for our speakers. And on that note, let me present you our first speaker. It's an absolute pleasure to have with us Dr. Chintan Vaishnav, Mission Director, Atal Innovation Mission, who will be telling us more about Bricks to Bytes, reimagining new business models in the transformative age. We welcome you, Dr. Vaishnav. What a pleasure to have you here with us, sir.
Thank you so much, Isha, and thanks, Economic Times. This is a very exciting topic at a very important time in this post-COVID world. Uh, and I think this idea of digital transformation of the nation and how it is an enabler for businesses. Um, I think this is one area where I'd like to submit to everybody in the audience here that it is one where, in some pockets, in some areas, our nation may be ahead of many other nations. Now, this is not to say that the work is done by any means. Of course, there's a lot of work to be done, but there are several experiences that now you can have in India digitally that you may not be able to experience in even very advanced nations. And I'll give you some examples of it. But since this is sort of an enabler for a business type of a conversation, so let me start with the business side of things, right? And one of the things that we witnessed over the last year and a half at the Atal Innovation Mission, and even and I myself personally, before I joined Atal Innovation Mission recently, was that there were several businesses that were enabled completely from 0 to 1 during this time of pandemic when we were all remote and there were significant restrictions and so on. And that was all obviously because of a variety of because of the digital fabric and variety of pieces of the ecosystem already in place. Therefore, this was possible, right? For example, I was myself involved in creating a business in response to COVID last year, still going on after about a year plus, and it's stronger now. But several of these co-founders that I was involved with, they were spread all over the globe. And some of them I met for the first time in person last month after some restrictions were lifted and so on. So I think this is really a testament to how the digital fabric is changing the opportunity set for businesses. More importantly, if you kind of sort of take any business and you try to think about the various components of that same business and ask a question: which of these components are now possible digitally or are better done digitally, right? And you will see that several of the components that we had only imagined being physical are very much possible digitally, and in fact better. We are beginning to also see many companies, depending on the type of business they are in, are choosing to be remote and digital and so on. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this transformation coming through. But I think fundamentally fundamentally what's different, right? What's different is that many of the stakeholder conversations that were possible, that were difficult digitally, are now feasible to do. So, for example, the finance part of the equation, far more feasible digitally, right? Supply chain side of the equation, again, a lot more digital interfaces to supply chains. Not at all yet done, right? It's still in early stages, but much more possible. Conversation with the regulatory agencies, the compliance, registration, all of that is digitally feasible. And most importantly, the customers are now, maybe by force because of the pandemic, far more comfortable interacting digitally with the businesses and so on. So I think we're going to be in a significantly different world that we may even have hard time imagining at the moment. So I mean, of course, one could we all know about the success of Aadhaar and UPI and all of that. So I will not really go into it. Let me go into some other stories which are beginning to be, one is beginning to witness and are not yet in the limelight, right? But I want to motivate these stories by asking you the following question. If many of you, I'm sure, in this audience have traveled to other countries or even lived in other countries and so on. And so I want to ask you, for a few examples, I want to ask you a question. Have you experienced something like this in other countries? For example, let's say you live in a city or a town, right? And there is a new road construction that is sanctioned for your town or even a village. In how many countries have you experienced that on your phone every day in the evening, you can get a status, you can check the status and the pictures of how far that road construction, what is the status of this road construction that was sanctioned for your village or town or city. In most nations, I mean, I have lived in the United States for many years until recently, and I hadn't experienced that kind of a service in the US. But today, if you go to several districts, at least 10 districts of India, that service is possible, right? How is it possible? Because the district administration or the municipal corporation is sending out a drone to take pictures, to do surveillance over what is the status of this work. And because there's an API, that information is available to the citizens, to the taxpayer. This is not available in most parts of the world. So that's one example for where we are beginning to go where other nations haven't gone right yet. Similarly, how many cities of the world, if you've lived in other cities of the world, can you apply for some city level service, let's say registration of a property or dispute on a water tax or whatever, and can get to know where exactly is your application, how many days are left for it, which is the officer who has it, how many days will this officer take, where will it go next, and so on. This kind of transparency is not possible. I mean, it's not available, although desirable by many cities there of the world. Their legacy systems haven't really allowed them to yet offer such services, right? And in India, in several hundred cities today, you can get that information. So I think what's beginning to happen is that because of this digital ecosystem getting stronger, many of these services are beginning to be built. There are going to be more and more of them. And in this on this frontier, we may be in some aspects leading the world. Again, this is not to really say that all the work is done, right? There's much work ahead of us. But the question is, what is enabling this kind of advancement, right? And I think there are three components to it. This is, I'm sure you know this, but the first one is the need is really, there's a dire need, right? I mean, we've always had these pressing challenges. It's not that the recognition of the challenge was not there. It has always been there. The need for transparency, the need for evaluation and monitoring of schemes of the government, or you take any example. The need has always been pressing, and the recognition of the need has always been there. That's part one. And so there is demand. Second is that we have the capability to produce these technologies, these digital technologies. So there are many young people who are trained in how to produce this technology, because the education has sort of been democratized far more. And the third thing is that means of production of these digital tools, the means are beginning to be available, and as the examples crop up here and there, we are able to replicate those examples in many other places. So I think this trend is going to go on, right? Okay, that's not the point of this conversation. The question I want to ask you next to consider is that what is next for us, right? Having done Aadhaar, having done UPI, thinking about health stack, urban governance stack, variety of different areas in which the digital measures are advancing. So what's next? So here's, I would submit to you one thought for the businesses and other friends on this call. I think there are many problems that we still have to solve, that we will need to solve, where we will have to combine this digital revolution with a revolution in engineering of hardware and materials and so on, right? And this may sound like an abstract thought, but I want to take it even incrementally and have us consider the following questions. For example, wherever you are right now listening to this, if I ask you, do you have an easy way to know what is the water table underneath where you are? So how high is the water table of the groundwater underneath you? We don't have easy tools for these, right? There are tools available, but they're very expensive. The sensors and the hardware is very expensive. Ask you another question. I mean, how do you know when you travel, for example, how do you know that the water is worth drinking? Today we either buy Bisleri water, trust it, or we ask this simple question, right? Is this RO? I mean, RO, of course, is only one form of purification, but detection of water quality ubiquitously at a low cost would require hardware type of work. It's not only a digital transformation that we are talking about, right? You ask another question, how degraded is the soil in your farm? Very hard to answer that question without doing something about the hardware. So I think combining this this digital ecosystem with an ecosystem in hardware and materials type of innovations, which are more appropriate for the problems that we have, more appropriate for the price points that we can afford, and so on, is I think the next frontier to me. Even incrementally, I'm not even talking about giant leaps. I'm just saying, okay, this is the next thing to do. So, anyway, so I think we should feel great about a lot of wonderful things that are going on. We should, of course, know very clearly that there's a long way ahead of us. And my submission to you is for us to seriously think about how will we combine the successes in digital transformation with what is to come on the more hardware materials side of engineering, which I hope will be our next, and manufacturing, which will be our next revolution. I'm speaking to you from Visakhapatnam, where I am at the Andhra Pradesh Med Tech Zone. This is one wonderful example of where this kind of transformation that I was discussing is happening. So anyway, with that, let me wish everyone all the very best for this wonderful gathering. And thank you, Economic Times, for having me. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Ish.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav. It was such a delight listening to you, and what a fantastic note that we started the day on. It's been a pleasure having you here with us, sir. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you.
And at that note, ladies and gentlemen, we can look forward to some fantastic sessions ahead as well. We will soon be starting with our session on changing the boundaries of financial businesses, impact of technology. Very shortly, I'll be introducing our next speaker. But before that, let me once again welcome you to join us at our experience zone. Have a look at the interactive levels that we've brought for you. I'd also like to welcome you to join us at our partner booths. I'm sure our partners will be more than happy to discuss with you how we can take conversations, their products and services further. We also have a very special startup zone where our startup partners are waiting to see you. So a lot more on the other side in just a bit.
The different technology for social good programs that we offer really showcases that social good is in our DNA at JPMorgan Chase.
Code for Good is our opportunity to bring in university students to our offices and brainstorm for 24 hours on how nonprofits can solve a challenge that they're facing.
We would like to ask you how we can provide vital security information to our staff.
We give them a problem statement, and then they pretty much hit the ground running.
Your coding time has officially started. The nonprofits get to see that idea go from just something in their head to a physical product.
What ultimately is the problem we're trying to solve?
And it's a really great way for us in the firm to give back.
We want to maximize the efficiency
So we can gather even more data.
Wait, pause it.
There's always a possibility of a complete pivot.
There you go, that's the problem.
They're sleeping, whether that's on the table or on the couch.
Everything needs to be uploaded by noon.
And obviously there's a lot of coffee.
We are building out solutions for these organizations with individuals that we're actually excited to recruit into JP Morgan as employees.
3, 2, 1. And based on their pitch, we decide who the grand prize winner is. But it just doesn't end there.
The ideas these students come up with in 24 hours are then brought to life by our technologists over a period of 8 months.
When the students hear that it's not just going to sit on the digital shelf, it's that much more meaningful to them.
And they really kick-started something that will be much, much larger.